We've got some good donations. Everybody's been really nice, and so we're really excited to have everyone here. So far, there's 87 people registered. Obviously, we're not all here yet, but from 16 different states in Australia. And
all right.
Yeah. So it's been a pleasure communicating with everyone. You've all been really nice, and we've got a really great spread of workshops for tomorrow. Tonight, I just kind of want to go around the room and introduce ourselves, maybe what organization we're with, what state we're from, kind of what we think is the most important thing that we're focusing on, and just a little bit. Everybody just take a minute or so, and we'll just kind of go around the room, and then we can just hang out for the rest of the night. So I'll pass it to my left or the right, whichever one wants to go first.
Yeah, I guess I'll go next because then I get to eat while everybody else introduces themselves. I'm Scott Bambury. I'm the Conservation Chair of the Tennessee chapter of the Sierra Club. I'm really excited the Sierra Club was able to play a role in making this happen. We've been paying attention to fracking as an issue here in Tennessee for many years now as we watch with shock and horror what's happening in some other states around us where fracking's been going on a little bit longer and has made more headway in those states. I'm really privileged in that next weekend the Sierra Club's flying me out to San Francisco to serve on a panel that's going to address fracking from a nationwide point of view, helping the National Board of Directors for the Sierra Club to determine what their policy is going to be going forward on fracking. And so I'm hoping to be able to just absolutely saturate myself with everybody's stories, like, what's important, and be able to take that to San Francisco with me next weekend and deliver that to the board, and hopefully the board's going to say, no way to fracking, and people that want to talk to me over the weekend and really press upon me like personal messages. Personal stories are always the best stories. They really move people the most, and so the more personal stories that I can get built up into my memory banks and I'm able to convey to other people, it'd be great, and thank you all for coming.
I'm Selena Webb, and I'm from Nashville. I'm in the Coalition for Frack-Free Tennessee in Cumberland Greens, and I'm just here to learn and see what we can do. We don't have fracking in Nashville, but all the areas around, in Chattanooga and different areas, so we want to do our part.
I'm Karen Schaefer. I'm from Bristol, Virginia. I live out in the county, and the county presently doesn't allow drilling for natural gas, but it's been proposed. And our Attorney General sent down an opinion that said he thought we should have to have it and we can't fight it. So the neighborhood's been getting together at area churches and stuff because we're concerned about our water, concerned about the roads, concerned about air pollution, we're concerned about everything. And then, from here, I'm hearing more, exploitation and frac sand and all stuff. It's just a really big picture. And we're just a small part of it, but we're going to fight it best we can.
Hey, I'm Rochelle Brown. I am from Anne Arundel County, Maryland. I am the Maryland Chapter Sierra Club's Natural Gas Committee Chair. And when I'm not doing that, I'm with Chesapeake Earth First. What I'm here to talk about, and what I really do think is the most important thing we're focusing on, is exports. I don't know if you have been watching the news, but the Department of Energy provided conditional authorization for Dominion to export gas from Cove Point, which is on the Chesapeake Bay, and that would be all the gas from the Marcellus and whatnot. So we're trying to stop that. We're trying to shut that down, and we want to talk to people about how we can do that and how we can help other people who are trying to do that, because there are proposed and potential terminals all over the place, and it will increase the pressure to frack 100, 1,000, 1,000,000 times. Okay.
I'm Eric Lewis with the Coalition for Frack-Free Tennessee in Nashville. I keep up with our Facebook page and post 3 or 4 articles every day for the last year, and there's a lot of information up there if someone wants to go to Frack-Free Tennessee. I'm also one of the co-hosts of this conference, and I wrote the grant that made this sort of possible. So I work with you. glad to see everybody coming.
I'm Ann Hayslip from Nashville, Tennessee. There's just so many things to be concerned about, but I'm like you, the biggest picture to me is, the biggest hole is the exports, because I can just see them just sucking us totally dry and just not even looking back. And it's like, no, this is not yours, this is our homes, this is our water that we drink, you know. We've got to stand our ground, you know, and I think we have to do it in love. I think we have to be as loving as we possibly can at any given moment, because I don't think we can do it in hate or with our fists, you know, in the air. But we have to be real clear that this is our ground, we stand here, and it's our water, we drink, and no, go home. You go home and mess with your water, you know, or whatever you need to do, you know, but just, this is our water, so, yeah.
My name is Lauren Bush. I am the SOCM statewide organizing for community empowerment, green collar jobs chair, and my background's in political science and mechanical engineering. So I'm trying to figure out how can we develop a relationship with our allies, such as our whistleblowers and those in the industry who do want to have best practices, and just build up our membership. Thank you.
Christopher Anderson, Sierra Club, Middle Tennessee. Just wishing there were more hours in the day for all the fronts we're firing on these days. But mostly we just try to connect hands in Middle Tennessee. A lot of great folks, west and east of us, and doing all we can to keep folks communicating. And we visited some fracking wells inside of Frozen Head State Park, not too far from here. Looking forward to some more visits this weekend. No one knows what's going on even within our own state parks. And my girlfriend here, Lynette, couldn't even get within 50 feet of one of the wells. All the methane and other hydrocarbons spewing out around the wellhead. And just glad to have this opportunity to see so many great folks getting together and sharing their war stories and seeing how we can get the word out to more people.
I'm Elizabeth Barger. I live on the farm near Summertown, Tennessee, and we've been really concerned about the fracking issue and about the tar sands mining. Just heard that they're considering tar sands mines in Kentucky and Alabama, and there's a lot of refurbished gas lines building. The Keystone XL is just one, and she mentioned the one that's going up through the Penobscot people's land, and the Bluegrass pipeline, and the East Shore Gulf pipeline, all of them to carry the toxic tar sands milkmen and under pressure and heat. So you know that there's going to be really bad leaks, and a lot of these are going across and under the Mississippi, over and across the Ogallala, and people in Texas are already running out of water to drink because of the fracking that they're losing. You know, they limited people using their water, but they're using 100 million gallons a day to frack a gas rig, and they're just punching them as fast as they can go in Texas. So I'm really concerned about that, and I don't want to see that happen to anybody, particularly. I don't want to see it happen to my man. But, you know, we're all connected. The watershed for Tennessee comes out of Maine, and an aquifer up there that runs through a series of aquifers. So we're all connected, and nobody's going to get away free from this. And so we really think this is a really important place to be. And you can ask me about the orange ribbons anytime. It's a whole, I'm not going to talk about it now, but we got to close Guantanamo. So, oh, and I'm with Fracktivist Tennessee and Peace and Justice and Code Pink in Tennessee. And we're having, Diane Wilson's going to be at our Draw the Line. So if anybody knows who Diane Wilson is, she's coming, and then she'll be speaking at our festival next week. So David Swanson will be there. It'll be really, it's worth coming to.
I'm Margot Rebar. I'm the chapter chair for Alabama. And we also are very much concerned, but we're not doing anything actively as a chapter about fracking issues. But our Mobile Bay group is very much concerned because there are pipelines now that are being supposedly for petroleum, but in reality for tar sands. And there's one that's being proposed to go under the Mobile Bay, which is the primary source near the waters that are being used for Mobile itself for drinking water. But actually, as a chapter, what we have taken on as our issue this year is a little bit related, is trying to get the state of Alabama to have a water management plan statewide. We are the last state that does not have a water management plan. And as a consequence, the Georgia wars, sorry, maybe you're here from Georgia, or even from Tennessee, if there is any concern, we would, without a plan, we're in trouble. So that's been our primary drive this year, to work on getting the state to develop one and then eventually to get the legislature to approve one.
I'm Olga Steiner, and I came with friends to gain knowledge of fracking. And it's been interesting so far. Had a lot of interesting conversations with everybody, and it's nice to be here.
I'm Melissa Fry-Beasley, and I'm not representing a particular group. I'm active with several groups back home. I'm from Oklahoma, and I mostly just came hopefully to learn a whole bunch of stuff that I don't know.
Hi, my name's Matt Landon. I'm resident, environmentalist, and hellraiser. I'm a co-founder among many of Mountain Justice and the Tennessee Oil and Gas Working Group. And I'm here to do a workshop and a site visit workshop tomorrow at 4 o'clock to teach y'all how to be able to get out there in the field and cost these oil and gas companies a lot of money and not get arrested doing it. And we'll actually be going out on site visits on Sunday at 1 o'clock, and hopefully our goal is to be able to cost one particular company roughly about $50,000 from this one site visit. So.
All right.
Hi, my name is April Lane. I'm from Arkansas, and I'm a founder of ArkansasFracking.org and project director of the Faulkner County Bucket Brigade, the first and only air monitoring, citizen-ran air monitoring project in the state. I've worked in the Fayetteville Shale for 3 years now with my husband and my sister-in-law, and we meet with legislative officials, state and federal agencies. We've also made a documentary film called Land of Opportunity that you're all going to get to see tomorrow night. So it just premiered 2 days ago, so you're going to be the second audience in the world to get to see it. All right. So we leave no stone unturned. We don't focus on one thing. We don't just focus on fracking. We also have done a lot of work in Mayflower following the Pegasus pipeline rupture, so now we're involved with tar sands. And our motto is to, come at it at every single angle that we can. So we don't just focus on community activism and educating and informing people. We also work with rural communities to develop their own farmers markets and to become more sustainable, because as we all know, you can't have one without the other. So if we want to wean ourselves off of fossil fuels, we're going to have to subsidize ourselves with something else. So I'm really excited to be here. Had a really long flight today. I know most of you drove, but I actually got sick on the plane today. So I'm excited to be here and network with all of you and get names and numbers and emails and hear your stories and share some of mine. So thanks for coming out and having me. This is awesome.
I'm Julie Henry. I have mostly grown up in Nashville, Tennessee, but a little over a year ago I moved to East Texas to join the tar sands blockade. And we've spoken on the phone many times, Elizabeth.
So proud of you.
Thank you. So I'm actually here specifically because I found out about the tar sands mine that's proposed in Logan County, Kentucky. I have questions that if anybody knows anything, I want to know if there are any groups working on it, if any information at all. I want to talk to you about this tar sands mine.
Doing a presentation.
And I'm doing a presentation.
We're doing one.
We're both doing a presentation together.
What time is it?
Is it 10 o'clock, I think?
Yeah.
10
in room 226.
So yeah, yes.
My name's Maura Williams. I'm the token Australian, I think. I'm from Sydney, Australia, and I'm a climate change activist. I've taken a year off paid work to come to the States and actually primarily do some coal campaigning. I've spent 4 months in Portland, Oregon, working on the coal export terminal campaign there with the Sierra Club and with Rising Tide there. And I'm about to head to Virginia to do some mountaintop removal work, but in the interim I've come here just mostly to learn. I'm here to learn about strategies, campaign strategies, and my background is in community organising, so I'm interested in what networks work at a grassroots level, and I've been fighting, we call it coal seam gas mining, or gas mining in Australia for the last couple of years, and it's starting to explode, and we often look to the US as kind of a bit of a warning signal as to why we shouldn't have it. So I'll be talking a bit more about that at a talk tomorrow morning if you want to hear about that. But yeah, really excited to be here and learn from you all.
Hi, I'm Minx. I live here in Knoxville, actually. So if anybody doesn't have a place to stay, feel free to talk to me later. It might be arranged. I actually don't have any background experience with fracking. I do have a background in organizing mostly social justice type causes, and I've done some stuff with Earth First. So, but yeah, I'm here to learn. I recently got laid off, so it's kind of a dangerous time for me. I have all this time and energy, and I'm just like looking for a cause. So,
Where's your work?
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm Jackie Posey. I was Jackie Tibber for 32 years before. I am from North Alabama, a little town, Town Creek, about 10 miles, a little bit outside of the... No, not too far at all. From Browns Ferry Nuclear Plant, and that's when I got involved with environmental issues. Was when my daughter, 35 years ago, was born, and they were building nuclear plants all up and down the Tennessee River, and it's kind of stuck. The kids, I'm a retired school teacher and can't stay away from them. I have to go sub. I've got to get my dose. They call me the tree hugger. I bring what I'm teaching with me. They don't have to leave me any lesson plans. And the fracking issue, I've been aware of that for quite some time, and it has been an issue, but just recently, our local newspapers, I've got it with me in my bag, have the page sitting on top of liquid gold with a huge question mark at the end. And I already knew a pretty good bit about fracking before that, but they're talking about pretty basically all of North Alabama. So that's another cause we're organizing to fight. And I'm with the Shoals Environmental Alliance. I was with the Aid and Reform Coalition until we basically gave up on that. And Alabama Rise and the Alabama River Keepers and a number of other environmental groups as well. But hopefully we can educate people and have them say no. Hopefully.
I'm Barbara Crow. Call me Barb, please. That's my mother's nickname for me. So, I apologize to Charles for probably driving him crazy, finding out the different things about this thing. But then I got this email message, 80 people here, and then I read the agenda. My God, kudos. This is absolutely wonderful. Like Jackie, I was with Wild Alabama when Lamar was there. We fought the battle to try to take the ridges and bankhead away from the Forest Service that were turning them into pine plantations. And now we hear that this fracking thing is coming, and not only for bankhead, but for the earth itself. Y'all, this is serious, and I'm here to learn. And thank you presenters that are here and have come so far. And I've already listened to a lot of you, and I'm telling you, it's just touches my heart. Thank you.
And this woman gets stuff done.
That's what we need.
I'm Detlef Matt. I'm from Maynardville, Tennessee, just north of Knoxville. I'm part of the, I represent the League of Women Voters on the, with fracking to some extent, especially in the Tennessee Oil and Gas Working Group. Basically, that group was formed, I don't know how many of you know about it, was formed back in 2010, 11, trying to do some serious regulation, get some regulations passed in Tennessee on fracking using the experience of other states. And we worked for 2 years coming up with, trying to work through the system, coming up with good fracking rules, actually used the Petroleum Institute's, American Petroleum Institute's best engineering standards is what we recommended, with some modifications as to regulations that would protect Tennessee waters for fracking. And what all came down to last October, or end of September of last year, the regulations that were finally put up with were passed by the Tennessee Oil and Gas Board. It had 6 members in it, 5 of which were industry representatives or business and Chamber of Commerce types. One was a Tennessee government official, but basically they neglected our recommendations and went with what oil and gas companies basically recommended. So we've been heavily involved in getting the UT Institute of Agriculture to stop their potential fracking for Cumberland Forest. I think we've got that stopped for now. But because they just today announced that they were going to postpone doing anything or not doing anything. Woo, woo, woo! Yeah. But whether we can continue on, you know, I think that we need to go back. If we can't stop the fracking, then make them do it as safe as they can and make it as expensive as they can, so that they have to pay for their CO2 and for the pollution they're producing. That's my thoughts.
Talk about Marilyn Brown too.
Yeah, oh yeah, Ms. Brown was reappointed to the Tennessee board, TVA board. And she, I don't know how many of you know about her, but she's the one environmentalist that's on board. Now, we know some other people that are on board, but the League of Women Voters is heavily involved in lobbying the state officials in Nashville. And they have good representatives there that are very good at talking to people, and they can get things done. And we feel, you know, one of the big successes that we had was we got a resolution passed where they actually told the Tennessee Department of Environmental and Conservation, TDEC, who has control of the oil and gas drilling, a resolution that they worked with environmental groups to try and set up some new regulations. Well, we got it passed, but then they ignored any advice that the environmentalists gave. So we're going back at it again. We're still working within the system, but I don't know if it's going to be successful. I want to encourage all of you with what you're doing.
Well, my name is John Henderson. I'm actually from West Tennessee as well. I live in Nashville now. One of Charles's friends, he told me about the conference, and I'd been looking into fracking, you know, just getting active with different issues, political issues, environmental issues, and I thought this would be a great opportunity to just come and learn and network and get plugged in and come up with solutions and alternatives. And so that's why I'm here. Great to be here, and it's been great speaking with some of you. I can't wait to hear all the presentations tomorrow. I wish I could actually be at all of them, but I guess we'll have to look at some video or something, some of the ones we missed. But really excited about the conference. So.
We've got somebody over here.
There's a bunch of people.
You want to go first?
Is there any specific questions we're answering?
Who are you and why are you here? Who am I?
Well, I'm a student at Middle Tennessee State University. I'm actually a philosophy student, so we can talk about who we are all day. I think it says a lot about who we are being in this room right now. Like, we've all made a stand to be here and come to this place together and talk about these issues. I'm really excited about the agenda we have. I know there's a lot of great speakers here from really awesome institutions and organizations. Yeah.
And what's your name?
I'm Joshua Moore.
Okay.
Yeah. And student organizations we're with Students for Environmental Action and also the American Democracy Project. It's a national, actually a federal initiative, so I'm hoping I can organize through them and wake up a few more people. Maybe.
Hi, y'all. I'm Monica. I'm from Durham, North Carolina, and I've really appreciated the sentiments that a few people have shared about how interconnected the problems are, both in a very physical way and maybe in a less physical way. And I first heard about fracking about 4 years ago when friends in Marcellus Earth First were fighting kind of the beginnings of this very big fight up there. And it was a year later that they started proposing fracking in North Carolina. We've been fighting really hard, but last year it was legalized, and that was a really crushing defeat for a lot of people. I think there was a lot of hope that because the North Carolina state legislature already had laws banning fracking, prohibiting it from happening, that we were in such an advantaged place. And I think when the legislation shifted, it shifted a lot of people, and I think for the good. The place where we're at now is that there's a really, really strong, really diverse movement in the counties where fracking is most likely to happen first, if it happens, and definitely across the central part of the state where the shale is concentrated. People who are saying we will do anything to stop fracking, and so we've been working most on a pledge of resistance, kind of inspired by some of what's happened out at the tar sands blockade, and have been doing a lot of direct action trainings and are starting to get the word out as much as possible about what the first steps are to prohibit construction, to make it impossible for the seismic testing to happen, to stall in all of the ways that we can, to cost the companies that would do this a lot of money. So I'm also here to do a direct action training tomorrow. So hopefully we'll share with y'all lots of tips on ways to either get arrested or not get arrested and cost companies a lot of money.
Well, I'm Tabitha Tripp, and I come from Southern Illinois. Town's called Anna, not that anybody would know. Oh, except for Charles, who was there last week. And I do appreciate the invitation to come speak. I'm going to be talking about how not to burn out. I think mostly because so I don't burn out, so I can tell you all, practice what we preach. But I'm from Southern Illinois Against Fracturing Our Environment, and recently we lost the battle for a moratorium. And our organization is for a ban, and so we don't believe that there's any best management practices that you could put forth, because we're always going to be putting the future of our children at stake. So straight up, that's what I stand for. I'm for a ban, and I like this idea of pledge of resistance, and I'm going to take that one home with me. So I'm very excited to be here. It looks like we've got lots of good speakers, a really awesome agenda, and like I said, happy to be here.
My name is Robert Neiman. I travel down here from northeast Iowa, representing Wisconsin, Iowa, and Minnesota. I live on the Mississippi River in the far extreme portion of northeast Iowa, right on the border of Wisconsin and Minnesota. So I live in the tri-state area, and I am here to talk about frac sand mining.
There's approximately 140 sand mines within a 2-hour radius of my house, ranging anywhere from size from 40 acres to 2,000 acres.
Wow.
It's complete devastation. I will be giving a presentation tomorrow, or sitting on a panel, I believe, with a lady from Minnesota that's Skyping in. And I did a film. I don't call it a documentary. I'm a concerned citizen that had a proposed frac sand mine that was going to open up next door to my house in beautiful northeast rolling hills, Iowa, where the sand is found, and a rail spur on the other side of my house with close to 1,000 semis a day passing by my house to transload off this rail spur. So I jumped into action and went up into Wisconsin a couple hours away and did some filming and interviewing of people that have been heavily impacted by this industry, hooked up with some really great grassroots organizations, and I've been traveling around since December educating people where the fracking is happening, about where the sand is coming from and how it's used, and meeting with state legislatures and trying to inform them that we need help, and it's a big deal. So my film I did very quickly. I put together in less than 10 days, and it was only intended for our board of supervisors and our elected officials, and since then I've just made my 550th copy, and I have about 20 copies I brought along, and it kind of funds my gas to drive around and do this. And so I'm just out there to relay the message and educate people about where the sand is going. And then what I want to learn from the Fracktivists is to bring back to my friends, neighbors, and elected officials about, you guys don't want the sand. And I want to learn from where the fracking is happening, to bring back and tell the people about how our sand is being used, because so many people are confusing frac sand mining with fracking and how the sand is used. There is no fracking in Iowa, Minnesota, or Wisconsin, but we are being devastated by the mining industry. And a lot of those mining industries are from Texas, Oklahoma, Ohio, Canada. They're not from Wisconsin. They're coming up, they're leasing the lands, and they're opening up these huge, and basically it's equated to strip mining our bluffs. And it's our aquifers that are at stake. It's our air. Crystalline silica, freshly fractured, is carcinogenic silicosis. It's devastating on all levels. Property values decreasing. So when I travel to Dallas, Texas, or Telluride, Colorado, and I speak to people where the fracking is happening, I'm hearing the exact same stories about air, water, property values. It's such a terrible and horrible industry, and what I'm finding is this whole horrible industry is bringing together some really great people. And so I'm here to work with everybody and go from there.
I'm Steve Payne. I'm a recent transplant to Memphis, Tennessee. I actually moved here from Minnesota, where I learned about fracking because of frac sand. I met people in Land Stewardship Project, which is a farmers organization there that
Bobby King, maybe.
yeah,
Bobby
they've
King.
been involved with anti-frac sand mining. So I just moved down here recently. I was a labor organizer and an environmental activist in Minnesota, and I'm just excited to meet people in Tennessee who are active in an issue like this. So.
I'm Bob Hastings. I'm a member of the Alabama Sierra Club chapter and conservation chair. You've heard from several people from Alabama, and I could only just echo what they said, so I won't say any more.
Hi, my name's Nettle. I'm a part of the Earth First Journal Collective, and actually a couple of things that folks have said have really choked me up. I think it's just really amazing to be here. We can consider this a little Fracktivist support group, perhaps. And we just, on the Journal Collective, we just really try and do our part in independent media and getting the word out there about what everyone's doing locally and really trying to break that bubble. Mainstream media is not the one that's telling people that their air and water is getting poisoned, and basically independent media is our only hope for getting that word out there, you know. So I'm happy to introduce the Earth First Journal to folks here. You can find us online and print. We'll have some stuff set up, and we're going to do a grassroots direct action media workshop. It won't just be on direct action, but just a little help for when you go home and you want to get the word out there. Anybody is able to do a press release. Anybody is able to communicate, you know, just like you communicate with your elected officials and whatnot. You know, always use that opportunity to talk to the people who are, you know, doing media for you locally. And always know that there is some way to get your voice heard, whether it is using direct action or any tool in the toolbox, as we say within Earth First. So we're going to be doing that tomorrow at 4, and definitely would love to keep people plugged in what we're doing, and most importantly, get people telling us what you're doing. You know, that's like the news that we circulate comes from the people, and we're really passionate about fracking and about helping to stop the tar sands and anything possible. And the good folks in Marcellus Shale Earth First, which is a network of like 5 different Earth First groups up in the Marcellus Shale region, actually kicked off a whole brand new tree sit today. Yeah, it's a really big deal, and they have some private land, and they're really putting themselves in the line there. So that's really exciting, and hopefully when everyone leaves here, they can go and check it out online and stuff. So thanks everyone for coming. It's gonna be fun.
My name's Eric Blevins. I live in Grandview, Tennessee, which is about an hour and a half or so west of here on the edge of the Cumberland Plateau. I went to college at MTSU and first got involved with environmental issues with Students for Environmental Action, so it's good to see some other MTSU folks here. And shortly after that, I got involved with this group, Mountain Justice. It's a regional group that works on mountaintop removal issues mainly, and I've been involved with them since '06, and a lot of affiliated organizations that work with them as well. Part of what I do is travel around and do educational presentations, mostly at colleges and community centers about extractive issues. Earlier this year, I started doing a presentation focused on the parallels of coal and nuclear issues, but it also looks some at fracking and other forms of dirty energy, and it's pretty amazing to see how many similarities there are in all these different extractive industries. And I'll be doing the direct action workshop tomorrow with Monica. So if you're interested in learning about how to directly confront these industries, please come and learn and tell us your stories as well.
I'm Sinclair. I come from MTSU. I'm the president of the Students for Environmental Action. I'm here to learn, and I'm here so I can bring it back to my campus. You might see me doing some video because I'm a student of journalism, so I'm going to be doing some of that too. And really, my first view of fracking was when we went to West Virginia last spring with Mountain Justice, and we saw a fracking site firsthand. And it was really just a life-changing experience to see that close up and personal. So we just want to get knowledge and take it back to other people so they can become educated.
My name is Brandon. I'm also from Students of Environmental Action at MTSU. I honestly didn't even know what fracking was a week ago. So I heard about this conference from Sinclair, and I decided to jump on board to learn as much as I can about the issue, because it sounded like something I'd be interested in. So I'm just here as a student.
I'm Alice Demetrian. I first heard about fracking when I watched Gasland last August. Never heard of it before. And I went to a rally in Nashville and met Scott Banbury over there and Eric Lewis from Fracktivist, Tennessee. And went to my local Sierra group, and I just been jumping in because I was really surprised to learn that our public lands are not protected. I've got grandchildren, and I want them to know what a tree looks like, you know. So that's pretty much it. I'm helping in the kitchen here.
Another shirt.
Oh,
yeah.
Thank you.
Alice is coming on strong. She's got a Draw the Line event now in Chattanooga too.
Yep.
They were bird dogging Obama with us when he came to Chattanooga not long ago.
Yeah, I
Yay
think our
for new
chance.
volunteers, lots of energy.
Our chance is gonna be, they get the pipeline, we get the shaft.
We're gonna change that around.
Right.
My name's Scott, I'm from Knoxville. I've been with Mountain Justice for since '06, and I'm covered. That's very important. Thank you.
I'm Joe McCaleb. I am a long-term member of the Tennessee chapter of the Sierra Club since about 1977. And I'm a retired environmental lawyer. I am mainly interested in, well, a couple of things. I'm primarily interested in fracking on public lands, very much concerned about that. I also live in Middle Tennessee. About 200 feet below me is Chattanooga Shale. I know that the industry is buying up lands in Middle Tennessee, buying up rights in Middle Tennessee to frack Chattanooga Shale. My water well sits on top of it. Very much concerned with that. I'm here primarily to learn as much as I can about the fracking industry in hopes of defending myself in some public lands later.
Then I'm the last. So I got a couple that snuck in over there, and you better introduce yourselves.
Yes, my name is Phil Phillips. I'm from Chattanooga. I have not done a lot with environmental activists. I've worked with progressive politics around Southeast Tennessee. I was Southeast Tennessee Regional Lead with OFA in 2008. We have become interested in fracking, as you were pointing out, because of the Chattanooga Shale. We sit on it, and there is a place not 10 miles from where we live that it literally comes to the surface. You can take a Geiger counter back there and detect the radon. And that's on the surface. If they try to frack this, it's going to be worse than anything being that close to the aquifers and everything. I'm going to let Mitzi talk in a minute. We've got a group there working with Lana Sutton and some others started called Stop Fracking around Chattanooga. And personally, I came up here to try to get some ideas about how to get some kind of public interest started. What's so difficult down there is trying to tell people what it is and why it's dangerous when the energy companies are already running commercials all over, and they say, well, it's a good thing, it's going to create jobs. He sure kind of tells the story of that, I think. Mitzi's our research guru, and she has found some places where the shale runs across through a ridge that there's, like you're talking about, some very suspicious purchases that just look really strange about how it's going to be on more or less public land plus some private land where they're selling off just the mineral rights and things that look very, very suspicious. And she has gone online and found these, even though our county assessor keeps changing the program around where it's becoming more and more difficult to find. And we're lucky enough to have Clay Bennett doing our local editorials. We got this shirt and that one. So that's it. And
hi, I'm Mitzi Yates. I'm from Hamilton County. I've been sort of I've always considered myself an environmentalist, but haven't been a super activist. I did some in college with the Sierra Club back in the 80s. And then took a hiatus from everything for 20 years while I did the family thing. Last year, 2 years ago, out of the blue, decided to run for public office, which I did in Hamilton County. Did not win, but as a Democrat in a Republican area, we got about 20% of the vote. So in my home area, that was pretty good. And that brought me into, I guess, more immediate concern about what was happening in my community, as in literally my part of Hamilton County, which is the north end. And so in those travels, we had a successful public campaign, we meaning some other people, I just kind of went to the meetings, to stop a big development that was called Chattanooga Village at that time, because there were some concerns about what it would be doing to the North Chickamauga Creek, which is a major environmental area. I think it's the largest open trout stream in an urban area. I think
It's
that's
not
it.
the largest, it's one of the few that's left. And it, actually, the utility district there has some of the cleanest drinking water in the nation. They don't even know to this day specifically where the aquifers are coming from, and they were going to build this huge development called Chattanooga Village, and now what's happened is the Greg Vickery that pretty much spearheaded that with the North Chick Creek Conservancy. The Hickson Chamber of Commerce has now taken North Chick Creek over, fired Greg Vickery, and they're reproposing it. It's going to be impossible to fight, and that's kind of, we feel like we're going to be up against that with fracking too, and kind of just want to network and find out, you know, like what you guys have done that's successful. That's what we want to hear about.
And part of our fight with fracking specifically is the fact that we have 4,050 acres at the north end of Hamilton County that is undeveloped. 4,000 acres is owned by a private international timber company. I want to say Timberland Resources doing business as Walden's Ridge. They hide themselves under local names. About 50 acres is owned by a company called LaHare Hill. Back in 2008, we had they're the ones that decided they were going to mine the top of the Cumberland Trail and where it goes through there for rock and just dump it on the side of the trail, and the state sued and the state won and had to buy their surface rights. But that company specifically reserved their gas and oil mineral extraction rights, including the right to vertically frack right into, from their private land right into the Cumberland Trail as it goes through Saudi Daisy, Tennessee, up in that area. Horizontal. Sorry. And so what they've done is, that is technically, there's the Cumberland Trail going through the private land that sits right next to the town of Saudi Daisy, and it's the north end of the replenishment area for the Hickson Utility District, which is a spring-fed water area. We have, through various political, Republican political types, we have a lot of future potential development coming through there, hundreds of millions, and they really don't want to see their land values go down, and they really don't want anybody to be concerned about fracking. You know, I've been able to see through the politics, I've been able to see through the media, I've been able to see through the local lawyers starting to organize themselves on how to make money here, and the emphasis on taking down the environmental activists in Hamilton County. One by one, they're trying to divert people. And, you know, what we have at stake isn't just our local water. We've got local politicians who aspire to be president. We have, you know, a lot of money that's involved. We had Obama come. It wasn't a mistake that he came to Chattanooga. There's a lot of power centering around that area with a lot of future aspirations. So, you know, there's, they want to take care of the problems. The problem is that I'm not going anywhere, and we are, you know, so, you know, I haven't been a hardcore environmentalist, but I have a talent for figuring out how to publicly bring to light issues in a real simple way. I have a skill for that. I have successfully done that with the county commission. I've also done that in some other political issues, even with our local Department of Education. So we're going to have fun.
And one other thing, if I could add, people like you guys that have been successful has scared them. The attorneys are already beginning to hold seminars on how to defeat people like us.
Oh, yeah. We should go to those.
They can hold all the seminars they want as long as no one bids on these projects.
Keep them busy, out of trouble.
Hi, I'm Lynette from Nashville, do Sierra Club Tennessee chapter, Middle Tennessee group, and 350 Nashville. Here to learn mostly. Yeah. Enjoy yourselves. Thanks for coming. That was on purpose.
All right, so I think I'm successfully last. My name is Kevin Routon.
And I have the pleasure, and I mean that sincerely, the pleasure of being the chair of the Tennessee chapter. I think we're a great chapter. I think we're doing a lot of things, and I'm very proud of us. I really am. So, thank you for all. Thanks to the participants for being here, but I want to especially thank the organizers: Eric, Charles, Christopher, Lynette, Scott, and Scott Banbury over there. Oh, and
Alice.
there's a bunch of them. I can't get everybody. But it goes on and on and on. The bar is set very high for future events, and now I'm not last anymore. I'm really thankful about where we're going with this conference and this meeting. I became chair in January, and I put 2 goals out that I wanted to do for an organizational goal. And one was to expand our base and influence, and make sure people knew that there was environmental concerns and that we got our word out there. The other one was empower activists. And one of the first things we did to do that was take 2 buses to the Keystone XL event in February. That was awesome. That took some doing to put it together. Wasn't sure it was going to happen there for a while, but it was a good fresh start for the year. We've got to empower one another. We've got to make sure we've got the tools and the networking and know who to contact. And it's all about us. It's all about coming together. And I'm really excited about this. Distance travel. I'm standing. One of the reasons I'm standing is I'm sitting for the last 6 hours or so driving over from Memphis. And I thought I traveled a pretty good ways. Man, was I wrong? Australia? Really? That's pretty incredible. Certainly putting together an event like this, you never know. The organizers put it together, but we don't know who's going to show up in 86?
87 registered already. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. 16 states, you said, and 2 countries? Yeah. All right. As far as the concern I've got, fracking is obviously a concern I've got, but there's many more. And to kind of paraphrase, I'm saying paraphrase, I'm going to get this wrong, I know, but John Muir, when you try to pull anything out by itself, I got that wrong, you find it hits everything else in the universe. Nothing is by itself. Everything's interconnected. And nature knows that. Somehow we're part of nature and we fail to realize that. And so everything's connected. Everything we do, fracking, mountaintop removal, water issues, air quality issues, they're all interconnected. So we can't pull anything out by itself. It's not a single issue. There's no single issue. It's all connected to something else. Keep that in mind when you're working with other activists.